This is the Transformers The Last Night Premier Edition Leader Class Megatron. Now, the figure is part of the first wave of Leader Class figures for the new Premier Edition series of Transformers The Last Night figures. And here is the packaging. Artwork is very similar to the Voyager class Megatron. Here he is. The other figure is just a redeco of the Age of Extinction Leader Class Optimus Prime. And one of the reasons I picked this up was that Megatron deserves a Leader Class figure, and I think it's a great move on Hasbro's part to put back Megatron in the Leader Class deal, as well as Voyager Class. Now here is a very interesting bit of instruction. The instructions are clear as mud. There are so many steps missed that where things should tab in. There should be a close-up of where the tabs peg in and all that, and it just doesn't show it, and it is annoying that you have to figure it out. And it is a Leader Class, and for the most part, it was not an enjoyable toy. And I know a lot of you are expecting a good review on this one, and I'm sorry, I just did not enjoy this toy, and it's probably going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I'm sorry, I have to tell you guys how it is. And I'm sorry that the video might sound like I'm whining too much, that I'm hating on Hasbro for they did such a wonderful job on this figure, and I'm not doing it justice by complaining too much. The figure but I have to give it as I see it. The figure has great and good qualities about it, but there are a lot more annoying bits about it that, after transforming it several times actually, trying to figure out how to work this toy, I might just go ahead and sell it. I'm thinking really close to just selling this figure altogether. It cost about $60 here in Manila. It's ridiculously expensive, and man, I was really just so excited about this. The Voyager class figure was just amazing, and I thought this would be more amazing, but it's a little bit disappointing. So let's get right to it. Aesthetically, as you can see, it's fantastic. I mean, this is the Megatron that everybody has been waiting for since the first movie. I think this is the most badass looking Megatron out there. It has that Black Knight, that Dark Knight look to it. Dark Knight, Evil Knight, sorry, infringing on some copyrights right there. The sort of like an evil Black Knight type of armor on him, and I think that's interesting. I wasn't a big fan of these knights. The motif of Transformers looking like knights, not really a big fan of that. I liked them better in the first movie, but the way they've been rendered, just amazing. It's changed my mind a lot about these new look of the Transformers, and just seeing Megatron in full armor is amazing. And again, just like the Voyager class figure, he does retain a lot of that asymmetry about him. That there's the shoulder armor here is much bigger than this one. There's spikes here. The only difference being is that the fusion cannon on him is much bigger and has a better gimmick than this one. Or not a better, but there is a gimmick to it. And also because the fuselage or the cockpit of the jet is the fusion cannon, while on the Voyager, the cockpit is on the back. Proportion-wise, he looks a little bit thin. Compared to the Voyager, I do like the proportions of the Voyager better. They're almost the same. Big lower legs, forearms, but the thighs and the elbows seem to be much thinner and less in proportion compared to the Voyager class figure. The head sculpt is fantastic, and yet I still find myself liking this one much better than this one. Sword sculpts are almost the same. This one is just in a bigger scale. Silhouette wise, this obviously has the better silhouette because of the armor, but the weapons, I think this one has the better silhouette because the weapon is just way too awkward on this one. But skirts, the armor skirts, just the design on the plates, without the kibble on the wing, I think the silhouette without the weapons, this one is better. So looking at the detail, not too bad, not too bad. I don't have my leader class Optimus Prime with me now. I didn't pick up the leader class, but I do have the Takara version, but it's all boxed up, so I'm not going to get it. I am, however, going to get this one, the Voyager class Optimus Prime, and basing on what we've seen in the trailer, this is probably a better scale, because Megatron has always been bigger than Optimus Prime, by a bit or by a lot, depending on which cartoon you're watching. So this one is not too bad. I could live with the scale, but I really love the scale with the Voyager class. Okay. So, sculpt wise, okay. Just some awkward bits here and there. Sword, okay. He also comes with these extra props, which I think were pretty useless. Honestly, they're like thrusters. They blasts from the thrusters in jet mode, and you can attach this in gun mode, which I will show you right now. Gun mode, for his fusion cannon, you just press this button, and this is one of the more annoying things. I mean, it's cool that it does that, but it's so difficult to play with this figure without snapping that fusion cannon on. If you want to keep it as a shield, you gotta put this back, make sure it's all the way in, otherwise this thing is not gonna close in. And just like that, it closes. I mean, when you transform into jet mode, you gotta keep it closed, but it keeps, the slightest touch keeps popping off. Of course, now it doesn't pop off during the review, but like I said, just the slightest touch, and it just wants to pop off, or to just split up, like that. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, fusion cannon, you attach it. I thought, you know, it looked great in pictures. I thought it was like, wow, cool. And I thought it was a missile, but it's not. It's just a prop, like a War Machine prop or an Iron Man prop. It's pretty useless. They could have saved on this plastic, added extra joints, maybe extra paint apps, maybe. Not an electronics. I don't think they could have added electronics in this one because of the transformation. But the paint apps are a little bit shoddy on this one. As you can see, as I mentioned in my Voyager class review, there's a lot of weathering, but it's like haphazardly done. As you can see, it's like somebody just used correction fluid brush and then they just added that. There's not a lot of thought gone into the weathering. I know they were copying something, probably they just put it here, and I thought, given the fact that these are made in Vietnam, they'd probably do much more better type of paint apps. But as it is, there's a lot of inconsistencies, and this is the one I picked that had probably the more acceptable weathering on it. So there's a lot of weathering here and there. These are made of soft PVC material, not this one. This one's, that's why it's a little bit dull. That's why I like the Voyager class version better. So yeah, the sculpt, okay, paint, okay, articulation, neck is on a hinge, swivel shoulders that go also in and out, bicep swivel, hinge elbow. But one good thing they've added is this wrist swivel, so you can have it positioned in the prone position and not just like this. So pretty cool. But we'll keep him in that position because of transformation. No waist swivel. Okay. Ball hinge hips that kind of ratchet, thigh swivel, and hinge knees. And at the thigh swivel there is an extra joint because of transformation that doesn't really stay in place, which is very annoying because as you bend the knee, it just bends. Some foot articulation, ankle rockers a little bit. So he is annoying to play with, quite a chore to transform, but is only good aesthetically. Great looking robot mode, great looking jet mode because of the design, but the gimmick wise, these things, this whole spring loaded gimmick is really, it doesn't do much for me. It doesn't add too much value for the figure. Speaking of gimmicks, one last gimmick that I thought might have saved this figure for me is the reveal of his face, like his faceplate armor. When you push down this button right here, it opens up his face. It reveals his face. And there you go. That's the menacing Grimlock. Grimlock. It looks like Grimlock. Menacing Megatron face. I love about this figure. Now to close it up, back up, you just flip up this figure, and his mouth sort of transforms back into that faceplate. And then you clip on the goat horns, and yeah, he's armored up. So yeah, but this is really, I love this sculpt. Really liking it. Okay. Oop. Sorry. Just almost dropped the camera. Okay, so here goes nothing. I'm sorry, but you'll have to bear with me. The transformation is incredibly... It seems smooth and easy, but when you're doing it, it's really a pain just to transform him. It harkens back to the old Revenge of the Fallen transformation, but less fun. Okay, so let's get right to it. Well, it says you have to fold this shield, but it's just gonna keep popping off or popping up as you transform, which I will show you later. Let's hope it stays closed. So I'm gonna closely just snap things in so they don't open up, but I'm sure it's gonna open up. So fold the we'll do that later. We'll fold the fists later. Oh, this one you can fold. Okay, that one folds later. Okay, the head. Let's transform this bit first. You don't have to swivel his... I don't think you have to swivel his neck. The instruction doesn't say so. Just I think it's better if you just close up the whole faceplate so there's less kibble going about. So do that. Now there's a slot right there. You see it? It tabs in right here. Instructions don't say much about it. You have to sort of figure it out how it happens. You just lower that crotch piece right there and just align it, and it should tab in right there later on. Okay, for the meantime it stays like that. Okay. Okay, we should do the arms first. Raise the arms up. Now this is the easier part, but the instructions tell you to do this one first because it's easier, but I think you should do this one first because it's harder. Don't know if that makes sense. Okay. So there's a roundabout way of doing this. The instructions tell you to pop it off, but actually what you're doing is you're flipping that panel right there. The instructions tell you to just move it like that without care, and if you just try and do that, you're gonna break some hinges right here. So open this up like this, and then just slowly, gingerly pop that panel open. And see, it pops out, as I mentioned. And this one just swings all the way in front, like that. And then you can fold the fist inward. And this one is going to tab right here. And that should keep it stable. Even if you do pop off the, activate that, the weapon gimmick, it should stay in place for the duration of the transformation, and it can be very annoying. Okay, and then what you want to do is you have to get it in a position that it's right here, like this whole cockpit section is right here in the middle. So make sure that the shoulders are perpendicular when you transform, or parallel, the swivels, and then this one has to come into that peg has to slot into that, and if it doesn't, just rotate the shoulder inch by inch or millimeter by millimeter until you get it in the right position. Okay, and that's a good position, so just keep it like that. And now do the other side. This one, rotate like that, rotate, and this one, this bit right here is your guide. It's once you've tabbed this one in, this one is going to slot right here, that tab right there. Let's get some more light. Sorry. Okay, he's gonna tab in right there, and that's your guide to straighten out that whole fuselage cockpit part. Okay, now this tab is gonna tab in right there, so just carefully do that. Okay, and that's that. If you've made it through this, then you're in good shape. Okay, so just fold the fists in, and that's the front part, the cockpit. Okay, and now the legs. The legs, they just split up like this, just a little bit. We'll do this one last. Okay, rotate the thighs inward. Okay, open up these are sort of the landing gear, the landing fins. They act as landing gear. Okay, pull out the pseudo boosters. I thought they were thrusters, like I said in the Voyager class Megatron, but they're actually they look like intake or like big ass blasters. Go ahead and fold the legs this way, and this one, there is a clip right there, which is going to clip right here, and it doesn't stay very well. It just hangs like that. And just make sure everything's square and perpendicular. Okay, let's do the same on the other side, and there it goes again. Fold this, and it just nestles there, because this tab is going to tab onto the wings, so they don't need to make it too tight. Now the skirts, the front skirts, can just stay right here, and as I mentioned earlier, that tab is going to be free to tab into that slot right there. So let's see if we can do it right now. Yes. Okay, once you've folded up the legs, you can easily tab it in. Okay, last bit, the wings. Let's make this a little bit like this. It has some flavor to it. The wings, another difficult transformation, I think. So just fold them out like this. Okay, and the instructions tell you to rotate the wings this way. They don't do it. They don't work that way. They have to rotate on the other side like this, because there is you just snap it on. I tried doing that. I popped the entire wing off assembly because they rotate this way. Okay, just be careful with that. Now, open up this section of the wing right there. And then this is going to connect to that via this joint. And this joint can get a little bit stuck because it's right smack in the middle of this thing. This is another joint that goes out right there. But when you transform it back to robot mode, make sure this thing just is all the way in. And you squeeze this semicircle piece right in the middle of that. And I thought that was crazy. I didn't appreciate that very much. And there it goes. Let's just keep it like that for the time being. So just tab it like that, like this, and then just leave it like that. So do the same on the other side. You see the reverse side like that, and like that. Okay, and as you can see, there are grooves right there. That's for those tabs right here. And then the tab right here is for this. Same here and here. So and these tabs are for here, which they don't, or sorry, these tabs are actually for here. They don't really do a good job at staying. As you can see, they don't really tab in, which is a pain. What can you do? So just try and see if we can tab this here. Okay, and then this here. Same on the other side. And that's it. Essentially, that's it. That is the jet mode. And just flick out the landing gear like that. Let me just back up the camera a little bit. And essentially, that is the jet mode. It's wide. It spans about 15 inches in diameter. The wingspan, 12, 13, 14 and a half, 15 inches. The length without the boosters is about 13, 14 inches. He's pretty bulky. I don't appreciate this one. This one just keeps snapping off. But yeah, as I mentioned, the fins underneath as well as the chest armor serves as the landing gear, which is not very good. And here are the blasters, which I thought could be done here. Like they could be the blasters right there. They don't stay on, but they're really meant for here. They should be like boosters. Maybe in the movie he has flamethrowers. So yeah, it's a nice, interesting prop, but to me it's not necessary. It doesn't add too much value to the toy. I'm thinking there's no way to store these except putting them in the blasters area. Of course, this is the only way. But I wish they could have saved money on this. He just added more paint apps on the figure and just maybe made better paint apps instead of just haphazardly doing this weathering. The sword can tab in right here. So yeah, this sort of Earth-based Cybertronian jet mode or something like that. It looks great aesthetically. It's a great display piece. Robot mode is a great display piece as well. Articulations kind of sucks. Transformation is a pain. There's that haphazardly done weathering effect on it. I love the other details on it. I love the sword. I love the gimmick. I love the face reveal with the mask. The bulk of it is great, but there's just a lot more negative aspects about this figure that make me just think about whether I should keep it or not. But as it is, it's a great Megatron figure, one of the better ones they've come up with, rather than the Galvatron figure or that movie 1 Megatron. But certainly there are a lot of things they could have improved on this one. So with so much regret, I am going to have to give this figure a 7.5 out of 10, maybe a 7. I'm sorry for an unpopular review on it, but that's just the way I feel about it. Did not enjoy it. Had I gotten it at $20, I wouldn't be complaining. 25, 30, but $30, but it's at $60 here in Manila. I'm sure in the US it's probably going to be at like $40, $45. In some parts of the world could be 50. I don't know, but really I'm not entirely happy with it. So there you go, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this little video review. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked the review. Even if you hated the figure, you don't have to give it a thumbs down. It's just my 2 cents worth, okay? The Transformers, The Last Night Premier Edition Leader Class Megatron. Thanks for watching.